is a service user and she's come into the Haven Hub tonight, and the both of yourselves are the volunteers that are helping Elaine.
Hi, my name's Elaine. Feeling really low at the moment. I'm not suicidal, but I've just had enough. I broke up with my boyfriend. We were going out for 2 years and I miss him so much. I've tried texting him. He's not answering me. You know, I'm just feeling very, very low, and I don't know what to do. I've tried everything.
And did you live together? Did you have any kids together?
No.
Okay, so like, it's not like you have to deal with like moving out or anything. You have your own places, don't you?
We do, but
Yeah.
he was my life. Like, we spent every minute together.
Yeah, but it was only 2 years of your life, which isn't, you know, it's quite a small percentage if you're looking at the overview of your life, you know. There could be worse things, you know.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, 2 years is quite a small portion of your whole life. You know, you have somewhere to live. You don't have kids together. You know, it's a breakup. It's something everyone goes through. It's, you know, you'll get over it. Like.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to stop you there. Well done. You all did brilliant. Okay. Can I ask you if you feel supported, Elaine?
No, not really.
Yeah, and you continue on with this, yeah. So you don't feel supported. Why don't you feel supported? Well, what's going on with Shifa support? What's up? She was, yeah. Why?
Shifa was shaking her head.
Right.
Yeah, like, you know, I felt like.
Did you notice anything else? So what the instruction I gave to Shifa was be on your phone. You know, you're having an argument with someone at home, be on your phone. I don't know if you noticed, you probably thought that during the road.
No, I didn't. No, yeah, I just thought that.
Yeah, so she was on her phone.
Disengaged.
Completely disengaged, didn't know what you were talking about,
Okay.
you know. And like that, we all have stuff going on at home that
Yeah.
I said, look, your daughter's at home and she, you know, she won't go to bed and you're having an argument with her and you're trying to sort that while you're also trying to listen in. Yeah. And what I'd say to you on that lesson, lads, is if you have something going on at home that you really just can't be present, that's okay, we're all human. What we're going to ask you to do is just say it when you come in, just say, guys, I'm here physically, and if I'm really needed, I can step in, but I prefer not to do interventions tonight. Like, there's 5 of us here, you know, so if you're not going to be doing interventions, that's great. If you are needed, you haven't let us down either, so it's not like we're one down, but you know, just be very real. I'd much rather people be like that, and like that, active listening skills comes into it. Active listening means that you're nodding to the person, you're acknowledging what they're saying and stuff. And none of that was going on. And obviously, I told Shifa to act like that. You know,
I'll be honest, I was just more appalled at the support I was getting.
Yes.
Than to even see.
To even see.
I know, it's like,
I was like, she was doing all the talking and I was kind of looking every so often, but I was kind of just looking at my phone.
I thought she was taking her break.
I can text myself here for the next
Okay, so what was, and that's something that a lot of us do. A lot of us, and what it's called is a silver lining the issue.
Yeah.
So sometimes people come in, lads, and they could be suicidal, or they could be just very down, and you want to remind them of the positives, right?
Yes.
But you have to be very careful in the way you do that, and that's why I wanted an exaggerated kind of way of doing that. Silver lining something is kind of sometimes telling someone you don't even have the right to feel as low as you feel, and that's what you're going to end up doing, even though your intention might be good. So a lot of people that don't do this a lot will end up silver lining because they'll start pointing out the positives. But sure, you have a lovely house, sure, you're a good looking girl and you're young, but sure, you were only together 2 years, you've no kids, you get over it. That's not what's needed, because as you can see, it doesn't end up giving you support. So we're going to avoid the silver lining. The person's in pain, you're going to acknowledge that pain, and whether it's because their dog died, whether it's because their relationship broke up. I had someone who was in a relationship for 2 weeks and she came here, she was bawling. Yeah. So it's a case of never ever saying this would actually is not big enough to deserve the amount of distress the person's in.
So is it true to say if you silver line it, you're not validating the service user's feelings?
That's it. You're missing out on validating them, and that's the part that does the healing. It takes the energy out of what's wrong, you know. So that was what we were. So it's active listening. So a lack of active listening there, and here she wasn't seeing your pain. So that's what we're demonstrating. Okay. So Claire has come in to you today, and we're in the Haven Hub, and she's come in for support. So you're both her the volunteers, and as per your scenario, I want you to support her in the way that I've asked you to. So yeah, leave you to it.
So I've been feeling really, really low recently, and I do get bouts of being very low, but usually I kind of have my sister, and she can kind of like support me in some way, or she listens to me and she's kind of there for me, but she's just not answering her phone, and she's just not communicating with me, and she's dropping me, and she's treating me really badly, and like I don't know if it's gotten too much for her, but like I feel so bad about it, but I'm also so annoyed with her because she knows that I struggle with depression, and she knows that this is really hard for me, and she's just treating me like horribly, and I don't know what to do because I've never felt so unsupported.
Your sister,
Yeah,
your own sister, and she's treating you like this.
yeah.
My God, your own family.
I know, I'm so angry. Like,
That's not on. Your own sister should be there for you. She should be supporting you. You know, especially when she knows that you suffer. She should be there for you. Have you tried cutting her out of your life and replacing her with somebody that will be there for you?
there's no point, no one else will be there for me. She's the only constant that I've had. She's the only person that's been there.
And maybe think your sister's probably fed up with you phoning many times. Would you phone her a day?
I don't know, like, not any more than I would have phoned her before. Like, it wasn't an issue with her before. It's suddenly become an issue now.
And do you ever think your sister might be right?
Right about what?
Like she just doesn't want to have contact with you?
I guess.
And why do you think she doesn't want to have contact with you?
Well, maybe it's like you said, maybe I'm just too much for her.
Right?
Great, guys, I cut you there. Well done. You all did brilliant. Fair City, eat your heart out. Okay, so are you feeling supported? No. Okay. You're not feeling supported. Okay. Now, and that's it, is we want the person, like, what do you think was going on there, guys? I suppose to John and Schieffer, what do you see as the big problem? So what do you see as the big problem from the fact that the way Elaine is supporting her?
Again, it's my feelings were validated and they didn't stay neutral.
Yeah.
And the problem with not staying neutral is at the end of the intervention, it's that sister could possibly be the person that could keep the service user safe. It might be that sister that might pop down to take her home and keep her safe.
Exactly. So Elaine was basically looking, and that's it. We do want them knowing we're on their side. And sometimes that's whether it's a service that they're disappointed with, a person that, you know, somebody could have been having an affair on them. The human part you comes out, and you feel like sitting there and saying that's awful, like for them to do that. But we need to all remember that we're only hearing one side, and it's from a very distressed person. So when I was in the height of my distress, I had nothing good to say about the people that would have been close to me. Because I was so angry at myself and the world that deflected, you know. So a lot of the time you have people coming in here and they're disconnected from their families, and there's a lot of emotional relationship issues. It's really important to not do what I asked Elaine to do there, which is to fuel the fire. So what Elaine did was she fueled that fire of anger, and we're going to really avoid that. And it's hard because you do want the person knowing that you're on their side. But we have to be very careful that we in no way actually damage the relationship they have with the service that they might be annoyed with, or with the person. So, and that's hard because we're human, you know. And then with yourself, Claire or Martina, Martina was wanting her to understand it from the other point of view, which in counselling long-term wise, you know, might be a good thing for us to be able to do that. But during an intervention, that's not what we're about. So that's the kind of playing devil's advocate. That's where Martina would be very much turning around and saying, you know, what about your sister's way of thinking? You know, we're not there to do that. We're not there for the sister. We need the person to feel as if we are on their side. How we get around that is by, as John said, validating the feelings. So, and staying neutral. And staying neutral is massively important. And the way we stay neutral is by saying, I hear your pain. And the way we say that is, you know, I hear that you're really disappointed with your sister. That must be very hard for you. That's not insulting the sister. That's not taking sides. It's not putting the other person's point of view. I hear that you don't feel to be your house is supporting you as you'd like. That must be really hard when you're struggling. That's how you validate feelings without taking sides. Okay, so Shifra has come into the Haven Hub. She is quite down. She's been here for a while telling her story, and she's openly disclosed that she has suicidal feelings. So you're supporting her, Elaine, as the volunteer.
I just don't know. I can't see an end to all the pain. I just want it to stop. I want it to end. I don't want to go on anymore. I can't do it. I can't go on. I just can't see. I can't even see to tomorrow. Just my pain is so bad. I've tried everything. I've tried counselling. I've tried going to the doctor with medication. None of it seems to help. I'm just in a very, very bad place, and I just don't feel like I can go on anymore.
Okay. So you told me you're suicidal. Have you acted?
I'm very close to it. I have a plan.
Okay. Can you tell me what your plan is?
I've been saving up my medication and I've just been picking the right time to take it on.
Okay. Well, look, do you ever talk to the man above? God.
God? What has
Yeah.
God got to do with it?
God is there for you. You know, you can, if you talk to him, pray to him, you know, he will be there for you.
I don't believe in God, and if there was a God, why would he let this type of thing happen? I don't believe in God, and I
Maybe-
don't go to
maybe
church,
now-
don't do religion.
Maybe now it's time to turn to God.
I don't want to turn to God. I need some help.
Would you
I
pray
don't
to
want
him?
God. No, I wouldn't pray to him. I came here because I need help. I don't need God in my life. God has nothing to do with any of this.
I hear you, but God, if you pray to him, he will look after you.
Perfect, guys. Thank you very much. Well done. you feeling supported there, Shifra?
I was feeling
I know. It's like yeah. But obviously, guys, I like that. I'm giving extreme kind of examples here, but it's for a reason. And the thing is, it's hard because sometimes something might have worked for you, and I'm going to give a few examples. So some people feel very strongly about angels, for example. Some people feel very strongly about crystals. Some people have a God that they absolutely idolise and they get a lot of comfort from. And I nor anybody else will ever turn around to them and say anything different but what they believe in. But we have to be very careful that we don't shove something down somebody's throat. So this again is stay neutral. So obviously, you know, it's creating a disconnect between you and the person you're supporting. If you say something, and like Shifra could have turned around and nodded and agreed to go to mass. Like, to be honest with you, like a lot of people will when they're in that state, they will, okay, I'll try that. But they walk out the door and they say, that fucking freak, you know, which is not how, that's not going to help, you know. So even if it's a thing that the person looks and acts as if they're actually into what you're suggesting, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're okay with it. So we're going to stay away from any suggestions of anything that isn't an evidence-based approach. And even if it is an evidence-based approach, we're not going to drum it down their throats. I know, for example, 12-step work really helped me. I developed my own kind of one that's humanistic and doesn't have God in it, but I wouldn't necessarily always turn around to somebody, like if I recommend it and they say, God, no, I wouldn't do group work. I'm not going to say, no, that's the answer. Like, I'm not going to be persistent, you know, because everybody is unique and they know what's actually, they're the person that actually knows what their recovery is going to be. Do you agree, John?
Yeah, see, the thing about bringing God in the church into it, for years and years and years, the church treated suicide as a sin.
Yeah.
For years and years and years, the church is linked to sexual abuse. So if there's a sexual abuse in the room, you start talking about God in the church.
Yeah, that's so true as well.
They're bringing it up instead of.
Yeah.
And you could trigger the person, you know, so it's 1 in 4, guys, you know, you just have to be careful. So yeah, so that's the issue on neutrality when it comes to religion. Well done, thank you very much. Shifra has come into the Haven Hub and Shifra is feeling quite suicidal. She's talked for a little bit and they're finally getting to the crux of why she feels so bad. And Shifra is a teacher, so I'll leave you to it.
Okay. Yeah, so like I was saying before, I really don't know if I can go on with what I've done. I just, you know, a few years ago I did something very, very bad. I'm a teacher, I'm in a position with her, and I completely took advantage of a student, a child, and I regret it. and I'm disgusted with myself, and I've been arrested for it and I'm up in charges in the court case coming up, but I just don't think I can go through with it. I just think it would be better to end it than to face up to what I've done.
Well, do you think that's really fair on the victim to end it? Don't you think they at least deserve that you should sit and rot in prison?
I feel really bad about what I've done, and I'm owning up to what I've done, and
What, and you think that makes it okay? You think that makes everything disappear? Do you think that victim is going to feel better knowing that you feel worse? Does it get rid of his trauma?
I know it doesn't get rid of his trauma. I just keep replaying in my head, and I just don't know if I'm able to go on. It's just.
Do you know who else keeps replaying it in his head? The victim, the survivor. That's who else keeps replaying it in his head. That survivor lives with that every day.
Thank you guys. Okay, so that was a hard one. Okay, thanks very much, because that is hard. So sometimes, what do you think? Are you feeling supported too far?
I've gone out the door.
You're going Are you feeling okay in yourself during this intervention? Are you feeling grounded, do you think, during that intervention, in the sense of if it was real?
Oh, no, I'm not grounded,
You're not
at
grounded.
all. I'm really upset right now.
Right.
I'm very.
And what I'd said to Claire is that you've had a previous history of trauma. So when you find that you find out what's wrong, it raises that anger in you, and you know. So this is about self-awareness, guys. Now, obviously, like that, I take the worst extreme so that we can teach it. But this is about self-awareness. What is it that ticks for you? What is it that you just is part of your story that makes you really, really kind of, I suppose, defensive and just want to attack, or that really bothers you? So for me, I was abused as a child, and the thing is, if somebody comes in and admits, and it's bound to happen at some stage that they've done that. As much as I was that, and I'm lucky your man got 18 years 2 years ago, so I've dealt with it and I'm able to talk about it. However, being able to talk about it doesn't mean I challenge myself to ever support somebody like that, because I want that person to burn in hell, and I make no apologies for it, okay? I will be too close to be able to support that person. It is not good for me to challenge myself and say, oh no, I can do this, even though it's touching close to home. That's not good, because I'm the wrong person to be in the room, okay? So what I'd say to you is get to know your own story. For those of you that have done counselling, you've done a lot of self-awareness on yourselves already. Sometimes people come in and they'll be very racist. Sometimes they'll come in, they might be homophobic. What is it that really bothers you? So that if it does come up, I'm not saying that you challenge them like I asked Claire to do there, because that's not appropriate, because Fred deserves to be kept safe in spite of what mistakes she's made. But Claire does not have to actually, you're volunteers, you're not supposed to sit through that, and it's going to go home with Claire if she kind of makes herself have to sit through listening to you, okay? So what I'd ask you to do is you suddenly get a migraine, whatever it is that feels right, you suddenly get a text and you need to go, really sorry, or whatever. You try not make it obvious. If you do, it's not the end of the world, but suddenly, and you just don't get into it, and you leave the room and you go out to the other supporters, and that's why there's 5 of us, and you say, I can't be part of that intervention. If it was something as serious as this, I'd give them a heads up, like I did to you before this. Like yourself was very had the strength to try and say, this one isn't for me. That's what I'm asking from you, is to say, no, I'm not going to push my limits with this. I'm not going to put myself into that situation. So you go out, even if the Haven Hub doesn't help that person, even if there's no one else able to sit down and be with them. Basically, all we do is we ring the ambulance services then, and the person is where they would have been before the Haven Hub. But likelihood is there'll be somebody on duty that'll be able to park it a lot better than someone who it really triggers. So get to know yourselves, guys, and the best thing and the best way you can support somebody when it's triggering you and when your mate's making you angry is don't support them. Step out, step away, which I know you don't probably sometimes have the ability to do when it's counselling, but here you do, and I ask you to just completely step away, let it be somebody else, and make no apologies to anybody about it. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You suddenly got a text or you suddenly got a migraine, and it's up to you whether you go home at that point or whether you stay on and you link in with one of the follow-up services then. Is that fair enough? So get to know yourselves. What is it that really bothers you? Is it, and if someone comes in and they're triggering that part, then excuse yourself, that's boundaries and it's self-awareness. Anything on that, John?
No, I think our job is to support whoever comes in,
Yeah.
regardless of how unpalatable it might be, the story might be. And as Leona said, if there's something you can't handle, there's something that's beyond you, you excuse yourself.
Yeah.
And it might be a case that the quiet people on duty might excuse themselves one after another, and that's fine. Then we ring the emergency services.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's the strong thing to do. The easier thing to do is sit through it. And I'm asking you not to do that. I'm asking you to just step away from it and to say, this one isn't for me. That's the right call here. Cool. All right. Okay, kick off. So Elaine has come in for a bit of support. Elaine has been talking for a while, but she's really hard on herself and she's hating herself a lot, and they're getting to the crux of what's gone on now at this stage. So go ahead, Elaine.
So I'm drinking a lot, and I just can't seem to stop. I'm very angry at myself, and you know, I don't like the person I am when I'm drinking. I just can't control it, and it's just getting out of hand. Feeling very, very low. Something happened the other night. I'm not proud of. I have a 3-year-old at home with me, and I have been drinking, and I slapped him, and I'm not the same since.
Okay. And I can feel why you're remorse, and you know, and you're feeling guilty about it, you know, and you're not going to do anything, you're not in trouble or anything. Would you think of going on a parent course, or going into treatment centre for your drinking, or going to AA?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
You would, and I have numbers that I could provide, and you know,
I'm not in trouble though.
no, you're not in trouble.
Okay.
You're not, and the confidentiality here, you know, there's no way you're in trouble. And it took guts for coming out and saying it, you know, and fair play to you, but you're not in trouble, and I'll give you numbers for the parents and for treatment centre.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys. Okay, so what do you think, lads? You're feeling supported, which is brilliant, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
not
feeling
proud,
supported.
like I've told her I'll do all these
Yeah.
things, but I'm not in trouble.
But you're not in trouble. Yeah. What do you think, lads?
Oh, it's probably great for her, not so great for the kid though, is it?
Exactly. So, guys, child first. It's training that you're all going to have to do. Child first means once there's any indication whatsoever, absolutely any indication whatsoever that somebody, that there's a possibility that a child is in danger. In here, like this, what she admits versus what's actually going on at home might be two very different things, but you've absolute, definite need to report it. Okay, and that's why we do at the beginning, we say about the confidentiality, and I'll talk about how that's best said in a few minutes, the limits to confidentiality. One of which is if there's a child in danger. Now, she might have boxed the child across the face, but the child could actually have a broken leg. You might be the only chance that child has, and it's not that you're going to go up against the mother, but what you're going to do is you're going to try and get them supports. You're not a counsellor, you're not a social worker, so you can check, did that parent actually, you might be very happy once they get, child parenting lessons, once they get some treatment for their alcohol. It's never happened before, it's out of character. That's not your judgment call. That's not what we're here for. So we're always going to put children first. In all cases, I say the only people, like if it was an adult or whatever, obviously with the domestic abuse, it's the very same as a child. But I'm saying if, you never have to worry about anyone else except the person in the chair, with the exception is children or someone that's in danger. So you are absolutely going to report that, because what the social workers can do is make sure that child is okay, make sure that parent gets the help that they need. And the way I would do that is, I would say it, you would have explained the limits to confidentiality at the beginning anyway. And you say, do you remember at the beginning, I was saying that if any child is in danger, then we need to be able to go back and then under the law I actually have to disclose this. I'd sit with them and try and get them to do it with you. So that like that, it's coming more from them. If they don't, then you have to do it anyway. And the thing is, you might have enough information and you can't make them give it. All you can say is, this person presented, she said her name was Elaine, this is the description, and she has disclosed that she has, during her, that she has hit a child, basically. And it might be a case that they disclose sexual abuse, So under the law, guys, under the Withholding of Information Act, if you're aware of the perpetrator of a serious crime, even if that was 20 years ago, and you become aware of who that person was, legally you actually have to, not just with TUSLA, but you have to go to the guards now and report that you're aware of it. And that's hard, because if someone comes in and all they have to say is, my cousin abused me when I was a child 20 years ago, you have to report that to both the guards and to TUSLA. You have no choice under those acts, under the Child First Act and under the Withholding of Information Act. It's much easier to turn around if you've given that warning beforehand. And the thing is, you don't want that. You don't want to take away the power of the person's decision. I've been through that court process. I know what it's like. If there's someone coming in, they're suicidal, the last thing I'd be recommending is the next step for them is to go talk to the guards, because the guards will need them to go into the, you know, the flashbacks, the memories and all that, and it'll make them a million times worse. So you're not going to be in any way trying to make them do that. It might be a different stage, in which case they can come back and we'll 100% support them in it. But we don't want to be the reason they have to. So that's why it's really important that we state the limits to confidentiality. And the way I do it is, you take someone in, you're going to talk about whether they want tea or not, you sit down and say, I'm really, really glad you came. Really glad you came here for. I know it's hard to walk in these doors, you don't know who you're going to see and all that. And just so you know, everything that you say to me here today is confidential. I won't pass these doors, you know, so feel free to talk to me about anything. There's a couple of exceptions that I just have to tell you about. If I need to keep you safe, and in order to keep you safe, I need to break your confidence, then I'll have to do that. That's an exception. If there's somebody else in danger or a child, I'll have to break your confidence. Or if you disclose to me, if you were abused, feel free to talk about that. But if you disclose who abused you, I have to declare then that I know that. So I'd ask you, if you don't want that declared, you can talk about the abuse if you want to, but you can't tell me who it was. Because if you do, then there's a law there that makes me have to go and say it. Other than that, anything you say other than those three areas is completely confidential. And while that's a bit much, it's much easier on the off chance that the person does actually make a disclosure to you. It's much easier to say, do you remember there at the beginning? Because if you haven't declared that and they just in the middle of their trauma spit it out, I was abused by my cousin, it's very hard to say I have to report that now to the guards, you know? So you need to give them that warning beforehand. And like that, it's a case of, it's only that, it's not that they were abused. If you hear the person's abused, you don't have to report it. It's that if you know who did it, and all it might be is a neighbour, a cousin, and I've checked this with TUSLA, or a brother or something, and you still have to report it. You have to report everything you know. What you'll be reporting is somebody came in here, his name was John, and he said his father abused him as a child. What's his description is up to you to give. That's kind of the level at which, you know. So the limits of confidentiality with children and with sexual abuse in their past, it's worth practicing it so that it spits out a lot easier, because there's a lot to it. And yet you want to really assure them at the end. But other than that, everything you say is confidential, and make sure they know that it's not that they can't tell you that they've been abused, because, you know, there's a lot of silence around that, and sometimes it's really, like, as a survivor myself, it's really freeing to be able to turn around and say it. It's important they do, but that if they do tell you who it is, then you have to report it. Is that fair enough? Yeah. Okay, so we're at the Haven Hub, and Elaine has come in for a bit of support. We can assume here that the lads have listened to her story and done the active listening skills for about a half an hour already. The main issue with Elaine is that there's been a breakup of a relationship. She already struggles with a bit of depression, and she's also lost her job, so she's at her wit's end. So we're going to show here how QPR can often play out. So I'll leave you to it, guys.
So I went from having a busy job, working full time, being gone in the morning, and then in the evening coming home, and you know, my boyfriend was there. And then I lost my job.
And that must have been tough.
Yeah, and then my boyfriend left. And, you know, so I've gone to having everything to nothing. And now I'm at home every day on my own, and I'm just so lonely. I just can't do it anymore. I can't do another day of just feeling like this, and I don't want to continue.
Okay, so what you've heard there is what we would call an invitation. So it's something that somebody says that makes you think that suicide might be what they're thinking. So Elaine has disclosed that she just can't do it anymore, that she can't do it even for one more day and she doesn't want to be here. So that would be an example of an invitation that you would have learned in QPR. The volunteers have just heard an invitation, which makes them wonder if suicide is in the room. So the next part of QPR is to ask the question. So this is how Shifa is going to ask the question. And a reminder again that the invitation was, I just can't do it anymore.
So I hear you saying that you can't do it anymore, that you feel like you can't go on another day. I just need to ask you, are you feeling suicidal at the moment, or are you having any suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, I've had suicidal thoughts.
Okay, that's perfect. So basically, she's asked the question, she's asked it in a very clear way where it's very definite what she's asking. She's used the word suicide, and Elaine in return then, because of the way she asked, felt safe enough to be able to answer whether there's suicide in the room. So we are all aware now that suicide's in the room and we need to continue on with our QPR. Okay, so Elaine has just admitted that she's suicidal, so the question has been asked and the question has been answered. And the next thing that I'd ask you to do is to reassure the person. It gives you a bit of space to compose yourself, but it also gives them reassurance that that was the right thing to do. And then to find out about the plan. So reassure, and the P then, the plan.
Thanks for sharing that with me. I know it must be very difficult. I just want to ask you, have you made a plan for suicide?
Yes, I've stopped taking my medication, so I have a stash of medicine at home.
Okay. Can you tell us a little more about the stashes?
I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to say.
Okay. We've come this far now, we've had a good chat tonight, and you might share that extra little tidbit of information with us, where the stash is.
Yeah. I've hidden them in my wardrobe.
Thanks for telling us that. Is it safe to say that your wardrobe is in your room?
Yes.
So thanks very much. We're really moving forward here.
Great. So what we did there is we reassured her and we asked about the plan. And then, as John did, he got more details on the plan. The more details we have of the plan, the more information we have to know how to keep that person safe from suicide. Now the question has been asked and answered. She's been reassured, and we know what her plan is. The next part is about persuasion. How can we persuade the person? It's the P, the real P in QPR. How can we persuade them to stay safe? And dependent on the situation, you're going to start thinking about possibly either involving the emergency services or their family, depending on what's best after hearing their story. So on this occasion, we're going to go into the persuade.
Okay, given what you've told me, obviously we're a little concerned. I would like an opportunity to maybe keep you safe and support you. Is there anyone at this stage that's at home? No one at all?
No, there's no one. I'm on my own. I'm just on my own.
Have a family member living close by any chance?
I do, but no, I couldn't. I've done it. She's been through enough already with me. I couldn't do that. No, there's no one.
You mentioned she, this lady, is she?
My mum.
Your mother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a parent as well, and if one of my children was struggling and needed support, I would really want to know. So is there any way you would maybe let us contact your mum and have a chat with her?
She's done so much for me already. I couldn't do this to her.
And as I said, I'm sure she'd like to know. And as I said, as a parent myself, if one of my children was struggling, as I said, I would really want to know, regardless of how many times it happened.
Maybe.
Yeah. will you give us serious thought about it? Must have her number maybe. We'll just have a quiet chat with her and let her know where you're at. You know?
I will.
Okay. We appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay, so we've now persuaded the person, the service user, to pass on the number of a loved one. The reason we want to do that is because we want somebody at home to be able to keep them safe, whether it's that they go home with them or whether they go to a hospital, so that the person who loves them will actually be aware of where they're at. And as John just did, you're going to really bring in the human part. It's going to be a case of, well, you know, I as a parent would want to know, or you could say, if your mum was feeling like this, you know, would you want her to ring you? And, you know, that kind of thing will help the person to make the right call and hopefully in giving the number. If they don't, then we are going to have to call emergency services. But again, you're going to do it through compassion, and you're going to explain that it's in order to keep them safe because you care about them. So that's persuade. Okay, so now that we've persuaded Elaine to stay safe, whether it's at the persuasion stage or sometimes during the stage where you're listening to their story, what you need to do as well is to bring in what we call a connection to life. We need to kind of turn the person to safety. And how we can do that is if we can connect them to something that they feel that, and how you know what it is their tone will change. So something that they really actually feel good about, and that changes their tone in a positive way, but without silver lining whatever it is. But just getting them to talk about something that they really love or that is important to them. So on this occasion, the connection to life here is going to be the mum. So I'm going to give you back to Elaine and John.
Okay. In a few minutes, so I'll give your mum a ring and we'll have a little chat. Just before I do that, would you like to tell me anything about your mum?
I know I've put a lot on her, but she's amazing. She's very funny, and we get on so well. She'll actually be 50 next month.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So you know, she's.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great so if we could get you a little bit of support and a bit of help and the 50th birthday, you were really in a good place to celebrate with your mum.
I'd love
And
that.
have a great night or a great day or whatever you're going to plan. I don't know, have you any thoughts that what you might do on the day with your mum?
I haven't been in the frame, but
Yeah.
I'm getting excited just to
Yeah,
make plans.
yeah.
Great stuff. So on that occasion, the mother was the connection to life. And by talking about the mother, as you could see, Elaine's tone kind of changed and stuff. And asking questions like, can you tell me more about her? And things like that. It gets the person in touch with the ambivalence to live. The ambivalence to live is always there with someone, no matter how low they are. And that's a part of them that actually really wants to live. And it's the good things in their lives that's going to bring us closer to that. So that was the connection to life. Next part is OR, which is refer. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and refer them on to more longer term, possibly more professional services, so that they can get more longer term help than just getting out of crisis in the moment. So on this occasion, Elaine is struggling with loneliness, she's struggling with suicidal thoughts, and she's also possibly struggling with finances. So you're going to find out what the problems are, and you're going to refer them or match them to the right service that might be able to help with them as well.
So Elaine, I just noted a few things when we were having the conversation. So I just want to make you aware of some of the local supports that are available. If you're amenable to them, I think that maybe counselling through Pieta House might be one. They offer a service.
Yeah, it's just, I suppose I wouldn't be able to afford counselling.
Okay, well that's actually a free service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And just on that as well, I know you were telling me earlier that your boyfriend had left you and you were in the house. Are you struggling with the bills or?
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time.
So there's a MAP service in Limerick as well if you get in contact with them, they'll help you with budgeting and you can explain to them your situation
and
they
is
can
that free?
That's free as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Just in relation to, I know you said to me as well that you were feeling a bit lonely as well. So there's Limerick Mental Health Services, and they provide classes like you know, art classes and wellness classes and meditation and things like that. Would that be something you'd be interested?
I used to love art in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So what I can do is I'll take your details and I can send you on those. And I just want to check, is it okay to follow up with you in a few days as well,
Yes,
just to
right.
check in
Yeah.
and check that everything is going okay for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. So what we've done there is we've given her hope and we've given her another option besides suicide. We've identified supports that might be able to help her along, and we've given her the hope that with that little bit of help from Pieta House because of the suicide, from MABS because of the financial struggles on her, and then from Limerick Mental Health for the isolation and the loneliness, then hopefully they'll be the right. And what's lovely about it is being able to connect in and follow through, make sure that that link has been made by giving her a call in a few days. So like that's only in this one, whereas it could be for somebody else, it could be addiction services or other, depending on what their actual issues are. You need to match the person in order to refer them to the right service. So that's it.